video for you guys. I know it's been a minute. I know I forgot to give y'all these videos and these reviews. Life got super busy for me, so I do apologize for that. But I am back. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I'm coming up on my first year on YouTube doing different reviews. And so I was trying to think of something creative, something different, something new to give you guys, but still make sure that I'm giving you guys real truth, honesty, uncut reviews. And so I decided to start a new series entitled Sitting in Yo Pew. Yes, you heard me right. Sitting in Yo Pew. And basically what that means is I am going to go to a different church every Sunday in the Chicagoland area. Now, here's the thing. I am going to go to mega churches, medium-sized churches, controversial churches, popular churches, churches that I've heard spoken on social media. So every Sunday until maybe December, I will be attending a new church as a first-time visitor. Yes, you heard me right. I will be going to a different church every Sunday. But I am so excited. I want to give you a real, honest, raw, and uncut review of what it's like to be a first-time visitor in some of these churches, so that I can aid you in deciding on whether or not it's something that you may want to attend or not. And I know people are going to ask, like, why churches? Like, we review everything else. We review books, we review movies, we review television shows. Why not review a church? Why not look to see if that's something that you may be wanting to go to? Now, you do have the choice of watching some of these churches online, but there is nothing like actually being in the building, looking at the congregation, seeing the pastor up front in your face. So that is what I am going to be doing. Now, how am I going to review these churches? Okay, it took me a while, but I thought that what would be a smart idea is to break it down in about 5 categories.
So the first category would probably be how I felt being welcomed into that church. So basically how the ushers welcome me in. Number 2 is the praise and worship portion of the service. Did they have great singing? Did they have something where you can read the lyrics? 3 would be the pastor's actual message. Was it relevant? Was it biblically accurate? Number 4 is the community influence. Do they have different programs and different things that they can offer to the community in order to and 5 the community demographics, what you can wear, what you can't wear, and different things, miscellaneous things of that nature.
Let's get into it. I know you're all wondering, ooh, what church did she go to first? So the first church that I went to was none other than New Life Covenant Church, Southeast, where the pastor is John Hannah. Now, if you're not from the Chicagoland area, you may not know who John Hannah is. John Hannah, back when I was in high school, used to be a radio personality on Gospel Radio 1390. Gospel Radio 1390 is basically a gospel station here in the Chicagoland area. And he did the morning, like the morning drive, kind of like what Steve Harvey does, what Ricky Smiley does. But it's tailor-made for Christianity, gospel, all things gospel. And he did that with Lonnie Hunter, and I believe that there was a female as well. And he did that for a number of years. And I was actually in school, and I came back, and this man now has one of the biggest churches in Chicago. So it just seems like everything happened overnight, but I'm pretty sure that he will be like, ain't nothing happened overnight. So let's just get into it. Okay, John Hannah has 4 services. He has a 7:30, a 9:30, 11:30, and a 1:30. Now, in my right mind, I said, I am going to go to the 9:30 service. So 9:30 got here. I was like, that ain't gonna happen. So I said, I'm gonna try to go to 11:30. That ain't happen. I only had one more service to go to, so I had to pick the 1:30 service. So I went to the 1:30 service. Now he holds 3 of those services, the last 3 services, at the UIC Pavilion. Now it is that whole area is just like, it's like crowded. It's like really congested. It's hard to find parking there. So I know that he'll be glad when he is in one location and people will be able to park. He'll have parking attendants and things of that nature to kind of like get people in the building and sitting down and into worship. I know he'll be happy about that. So service started at 1:30. I actually got into the building at 1:35, and service starts on time, exactly on time. He plays no games about time. He wants, of course, he can't really do that because it's the UIC Pavilion, so I'm pretty sure he has to stick to some type of timeline. Now, when I first got into the pavilion, there was music playing. He even had like, I don't want to call them cheerleaders, but like greeters that were like, thank you for coming, yay, and they were clapping. They had on their New Life Covenant t-shirts. They were clapping. They were saying welcome. There were a couple of booths set up for different things that he has going on outside of church services that you could stop by and talk to someone about. I did notice that. That was cool. What I thought was really sweet was when I was actually walking into where the service was actually being held, there was a lady in front of the door literally hugging everybody. Now, I will say this. I don't like to be hugged like that. But for some reason, I just felt really like this lady was really genuine and sweet. And, I mean, I'm not going to not hug her. Even though I kind of gave it out, like, I really don't want to hug you. I did hug her, and it was just genuine and sweet. And coming to find out, it was actually John Hannah's wife. I'm pretty sure it was his wife that literally was hugging everybody as they came through the door. Now, that's number 1. Number 2 is their worship experience. Now, because I did not get in right at 1:30, the worship service, the worship portion was already starting. The worship music was already going, and they were on their first song. Now, to the left of where I was sitting, there were praise dancers up on the stage along with the worship team. And I did kind of find that a little bit odd. I'm old school, so I'm still getting used to praise dancing being incorporated into the actual praise time of the service or the worship time of the service. And I'm not going to lie to you, as somebody that is new to the experience, I did not know where to look. I didn't know whether I should look at the praise dancers or look at the worship team or look at the words that were on both screens. There were 2 big screens that you could look at where the worship lyrics to the songs were being displayed. And it was a lot going on. And so my mind really literally had to decide what I'm going to focus on. Not to mention, people are still like coming in to the arena, to the area. And so there are people coming in and you're kind of watching those people too. And then the worship singing is going on and the praise dances are going on. They're recording on one side. So it's a lot to view all at once if you're a first timer. The worship team did 2 songs and that was it. Like, it literally went by very quickly. Then he, because he is John Hannah and he has a little bit of pub because he was a radio personality, he actually had Crystal Rucker there, who is a gospel recording artist. I know Crystal Rucker because I love her song on Anthony Brown's CD that he came out with a year ago, Everyday Jesus, and it's a song called Free. Check that out if you can. And she made that place go into straight worship mode. At first, everybody was kind of looking at her like, okay, do your little song, boo-boo. But once she got towards the end, and then she gave you a little bit of her old school flavor, she gave you I'm Available to You, then people started to worship, and I most definitely went into worship mode, more so with her than I did with the actual worship team that was up there. Okay, and then on to the actual message. Okay, so what I love about John Hannah is that he tries to make all of his messages relevant, and the service that I went to was not any different than what I'm hearing that he does a lot through his messages, and that is to be relevant to his congregation. So he is on a series called What's in Your Ear, and basically this series is basically he picks out a popular song that's playing on the radio now and relates it biblically. The week prior to me coming, he did Bruno Mars, That's What I Like. The message that I was there for was Wild Thoughts, the song by DJ Khaled, Rihanna, and Bryson Tiller. And it was so funny because he ain't know nothing about DJ Khaled or Bryson Tiller. He got all their names wrong. He did read a couple of their lyrics, and he was like, now y'all know good and well y'all don't know what Rihanna was saying. And it was kind of funny because all I know is the part where she says wild thoughts, wild thoughts. That's all I could think of. So I thought that was very, very cute, and it keeps the congregation engaged, and it keeps him relevant to what they're listening to or what they may be listening to, and I thought that that was great.
Now, he came from the book of Acts, where he talked about Simon, the sorcerer. Simon was like a witchcraft person who saw Philip. He got saved, but he saw that Philip was doing signs and wonders through Jesus and through the Holy Spirit, and he wanted that same thing, but he didn't have a clean heart. He kind of wanted it to use as an act for himself and not to actually get people to come to Christ. And so Philip pretty much was like, nah, bro, that's not how it's happening.
Now, I will say this, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be truthful, I did not know how those two related. The topic related, and then the message itself related to Wild Thoughts. Because what John Hannah ended up doing in this message, which was kind of cool, and it keeps you engaged. I will say that he kept me really, really engaged. Basically, the message took a turn to God being the potter and we are the clay. And he actually had a real life demonstration of a potter. And it was kind of cool. He was up on the stage and he was just like molding this clay into, of course, a pot. And John Hannah was explaining how God has to shape you the way that he wants you. And on the way to shaping you, he has to like cut off some things. He sometimes has to start again. He has to put the actual clay part through the fire so that it can get tough, and then glossing it up. And so he related all of this changing to what God does in our lives to create who he wants us to be. And so it was kind of cool because he actually had this man doing it. And every point that he made, the man would actually do what John Hannah was saying. Another thing that he did throughout the message was Crystal Rucker, who I talked about earlier, the gospel artist, sung a couple of lyrics through this message as well. And I just thought that that was really, really creative. But like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what that has to do with Wild Thoughts, and what that has to do with the scripture that he read. Involvement. Now, I think it's important for every church to have some type of community involvement. we hear a lot of people giving critiques about churches and saying what they are and they are not doing in that community. And I think it's important to let people know if a church is actually doing that or not. So at New Life, what is kind of cool is that they give you this brochure here along with your tithes and offering envelope. And they have a food pantry on Thursdays from 12 to 2. They have the cleaning up on 79th Street near the Dan Ryan Expressway that you can participate in. They have free legal clinics. They also talked about a financial freedom 9-week course that they're offering to their members for $100. I think that's not bad at all. And then they also have a home ownership course that they are doing for free. So you do have that option as well. So they have a great community outreach program. Also, what I thought was kind of cool is they will be having a carnival at the end of August to get ready in preparation for Chicago going back to school in September. And he is asking for people to assist in getting book bags for those kids. He wants to give away 1,000 book bags with supplies in those book bags. And I just think that that's really cool. Now, as far as the demographics are concerned, mostly women. The crowd will be about 18 to 34. I did see a number of older women in there, and I only went to one service, so I can only speak for that service, but there were a lot of black women in that service, and I would say from the age from 18 to 34, with some older people being there. I did not see as many black men in this service, but however, I did have the opportunity to sit next to two younger black men, and when I say younger, because I'm younger than me. And so demographic is most definitely black women, and we see that in all churches. There's going to be more black women than there are going to be black men. Also, it was a very relaxed atmosphere, so you could have jeans on, gym shoes, dresses, whatever. This is a come as you are type of church. What I love about John Hannah's church is that if you are not a Christian, if you were not raised in a Christian household, I call it the unchurched. If you are the unchurched, this is the church for you. And this is where I'm getting into the critique, the review of the church. For real, for real. If you are unchurched, this is a church for you, because he really lets you be yourself. You really do not have to worry about some of the things that you hear about church. Oh, I'm not going to be able to wear that. Oh, they judge people there. Oh, the ushers are like this. Oh, the mothers sit here. It's really a church where you can be yourself, without anybody saying anything, whispering anything. It's so big, you probably ain't gonna be able to notice that anyway. And so I love John Hannah's ability to affect the unchurched. He's really, really down to earth as well. He's really, really down to earth. I will say this. If I had to give a real raw truth about it. If you don't like a louder church, if you want something a lot more calmer, if you want something more traditional, this ain't that church. I'm just going to be honest with you. This ain't that church. If you want something more quiet, if you want to know your fellow members, peers of that church more intimately, I can't say that this would be the church for you. Now, I'm not telling you, hear me when I say this, I'm not telling you you can't go visit. I'm not telling you that you're not going to like it. What I am telling you is that if you're more reserved, if you're more traditional, if you are more old school, this is not that church for you. Unless you feel like changing it up. if you're not into the way that things are evolving as far as church life is concerned, it's not going to be a place that you're going to feel comfortable. So as far as a review is concerned, or a critique I can say is concerned, is I give that church a 9.5 out of 10. And I give it that because of how relevant it is to the community, how it's serving its community, and how biblically relevant Pastor John Hanna is. And so I completely enjoyed that service. I can't wait to see how it's going to be when he's actually in his building, because I think there he won't have as many restrictions. I think the worship will go to a whole nother level. And like I said, if you're not into that toe tapping, shouting, running around type deal, this ain't your church. This ain't your church. But if you're not into that, then don't go. Also, just a little bonus for you guys. I did attend on Thursday his Thursday Bible class. Now, I have no idea why he calls it a Bible class, because in reality, it seems like a midweek refresher, because he's up speaking. It's not necessarily going through the Bible. Like I said, if you don't like a lot of noise, you may not want to go to that, because they get lit. They get lit. And it was kind of loud. It was a little bit rowdy. I couldn't really hear anything, because another critique I will say is that it kind of reminds me of, and I'll post this YouTube clip so that you guys can see it. But there used to be this like funny YouTube skit of this battle rapper. And I can't think of his name, but he would always go, "I am not a rapper." But everything he said, even if it was minute, people go, "Oh!" That's how it is at John Hanna's church. Like, if he says something, even if it's really small, like, people kind of make a big deal out of it. And you kind of either don't hear it, or you don't get why the response is so big, I will say. And I'm not trying to be shady at all, but I'm just saying that I did notice that you know, anything that he said was just like, oh, I don't know what the name of that YouTube skit is, but I will place it below. But other than that, I mean, I enjoyed the service. I think he's a really good pastor. I think it's a really good church. It's going to continue to grow. There are going to be people there that will go to that church before they will ever go to your church, simply because they want to be accepted. And it depends on where you go to church at. Some places you can't bring everybody in. You can't bring everybody to every church. It just is not going to fit them. And a lot of times we try to push people to go certain places that's not where they should be. So I'm excited about this series that I'm doing. I'm glad that you stuck with me for this review. I know that it was long. I'm going to try to make sure that I can keep it under a certain amount of time. Stay tuned with me for next week's Sitting in Your Pew. I will be at another church. I want to tell you guys, but I'm not. You have to just stay tuned to see where I'm going next. And believe me, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Like, if I liked it, I liked it. If I didn't, I didn't. If they were talking nonsense, they was talking nonsense, and you're going to hear that. If you have any questions for me, let me know. If you have any, any information about John, about New Life Covenant, and Pastor John Hanna, I will leave the Sunday services, the website, and all of that down on the link below so that you can view it yourself. Let me know how you feel about this. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. Please share this video with other people. I want us to start a discussion about church. Let's talk about it. I don't care. If you want to tell me that's not how his church goes, let me know. I'm up for hearing that. I do not care. I can roll with the punches. So let me know your feedback on this. Let me know if there is anything that I'm missing that you want to hear in these reviews for the next church that I'm going to. Okay? Let me know that as well. And once again, thank you for rocking with me. We're coming up to a year. I love you guys so, so much. This is Old School Heart. Have a good day.